What's up everybody, it's your boy Floss, back again with another video, and today we're going to be reviewing the HTC One M9. No, my name's actually Josh, shout out to Flossy Carter, he's an awesome dude. If you're not subscribed to his channel, go do that now. Anyways, I had to steal his intro for a bit there. This is the long-awaited HTC One M9 review. May is a crazy month for me. My daughter's birthday, a couple days later my anniversary, I head out of town to visit family. May is usually a crazy month. Plus, my daughter's going to get out of school here in the next few days, and the summer's going to be kind of crazy. And yeah, so sorry about the lack of videos. Hopefully that won't happen again after I'm back from my trip. So, here it is. The HTC One M9, or should I really call it the M8 Plus. I don't have my M8 anymore. I sold it, because I do that sometimes, to buy the new devices or to make up for the money on the new device that I purchased. And the M8 Google Play Edition was a great phone. This is the Sense version, so it has Sense on it. I am not a fan of it by any means at all. Now, once upon a time ago, I thought that Sense was a lot better than TouchWiz, because TouchWiz was very laggy. Pressing the power button, it would take, a few seconds to get to your home screen. Like you press the power button and think nothing's happening, and then a couple seconds later, boom, your screen lights up. So TouchWiz has always been really laggy and really slow. Well, that's not the case anymore. The S6 is much more responsive in opening it, turning it on, and pretty much everything. It is a much faster experience than it ever has been before. Sense has definitely worn on me. Not a fan of it. Don't like it. I like the phone. HTC made a good phone. The M9 is a good phone. Hear me out. If you have to have the very latest phone and always have to have the newest and the best, then the M9 is a good phone. But if you have an M8, there's absolutely no reason to upgrade. If you have an M7, I'd say it's worth upgrading, definitely, because this is a really good phone. I just don't like Sense. When CyanogenMod 12 is available for this device, I will be installing it. This is a UAG case. It is one of my favorite cases. I really like it. I paid a lot of money for this phone, and I don't want anything to happen to it. So let's go ahead and take the case off and show you what the phone looks like underneath. Alright, so here's the phone in its naked form, the HTC One M9. I chose this color because I prefer it over the other options that there were. I did get the developer edition that comes pre-unlocked from the factory. I can throw my AT&T SIM card in there. I can take my T-Mobile SIM card out of my S6 and throw it in here, or I can take my AT&T SIM card, which is in here right now, as you can see right there. So I can throw this SIM card in this phone and it'll work fine. I can switch these two around. I've had this phone for more than 40 days, so I'm going to call tomorrow and get this device unlocked from T-Mobile, just like I did my Note 4. I've actually got an AT&T SIM card inside my T-Mobile Note 4 right now, because if you bought the device full off contract, you can call T-Mobile after 40 days of owning the device and get it unlocked. At least for the Samsung phones that is. So I got the developer unlocked edition, and the funny thing is, I haven't rooted it yet. I have not rooted it. All I gotta do is install TWIP Recovery and Flash Super SU. I do it to every device shortly after getting it, but I have not done it to this one yet, and I don't know why. I'm honestly just getting to the point now where root is not as necessary as it was before. Don't get that wrong. This is literally the only device in my house right now that's not rooted. That's just how it is. And I don't know why. But anyways, so let's get to the review. If I bring this down, you're going to notice that the clear all button's right there. Boom, everything's cleared. But to get to your quick toggles, they freaking changed it. Look at this. It's not brightness and then you press it and a little slider appears and you slide it back and forth. Or like Samsung where you have a little bar that goes across. You actually have a little button that you press and you toggle between low, medium, high, or auto. So don't like that. They change things too much and I'm not a fan of it. If you press it, you can bring up this little adjuster and adjust it like that. But it's still very annoying that they feel they need to change that. All of these are just tacky. I'm not a fan of this at all. It gets the job done, but it's still frustrating. You can press this little settings button and take you to there and turn on Wi-Fi and connect to Wi-Fi devices and etc. But it's still not a fan of it. Don't like the way they changed the battery bar. Don't like the way they change things. I understand that companies want to have phones with different skins, like LG has their little skin. HTC has Sense. Samsung has TouchWiz. Motorola had Moto Blur at one point. I'm not a fan of skins. I feel like they take basic core Android and then they just change it way too much. Not a fan of it at all. So let's get to talking about the camera. Camera isn't too bad. It's not terrible. It'll take decent quality pictures, and I'll take a picture of this real quick and I'll include it in this video. I'm not the best at like, oh, the colors are brighter, crisper, sharper, cleaner. I don't know. I just take pictures and I upload them to Twitter, Instagram, etc. Now, I've noticed that this isn't the best Instagram phone picture taker thing. Quality isn't bad, but there's just some times where the detail could be so much better than it is. So the camera's not garbage, but it's not the best. I got the G4 coming any day now. I might be out of town when it comes, which is going to suck, but it's going to come any day now. And it's supposed to have the best camera on any smartphone out there. But right now, I would say the S6 and the Note 4 are probably one of the best of any camera smartphone taking things. LG reached out to me and they shipped out the LG G4. I'm just waiting on it to come. So if you're buying a smartphone purely off the camera, I wouldn't get this one. All right, let's get back to Sense. I get off topic really easily. Okay, so recent apps button. There we go. I can change all my recent apps, but when you first get it out of the box, it's actually not going to look like that. It's going to look like this. Not a fan of it. It only shows up to 9 things at one time, and you got to swipe each little thing away at a time, or you can press that to clear all the recent apps. But I definitely change that and make it look like sort of like stock Android, where if you open an app up, you get this familiar little screen where you swipe it away. That's what I'm used to. That's what I like. Don't know why HTC feels yet another thing they have to change. Also, the app drawer is straight up and down, like it's been forever. I know you can install something like Nova Launcher, but I haven't yet because I wanted to do the review first. And frankly, I'm going to be installing CyanogenMod on this, and I'm probably going to keep the Trebuchet or whatever launcher, Google Now launcher. Yeah, Google Now launcher. It's in the Play Store. You can install that and make it look kind of similar to an AOSP phone. Google Now launcher, install, accept, let it install, and then when we press home, we're going to have a brand new option, and we're going to be able to use that. Continue. Got it. There we go. Except for the icons up there, it looks very close to stock Android, which is nice. I like this style view better than straight up and down through a long list. Much more appealing to me, in my personal opinion. And once you press home again, you can hit always, and it'll always and forever bring you to that. And you'll still have this little card view thing, but you can swipe it away. Okay, Google. Where's the closest McDonald's? You get the idea. Definitely recommend installing Google Now Launcher unless you're used to HTC phones and you've gotten used to having your app drawer straight up and down. Then you're probably just fine with it and you don't care. The speakers on this thing are awesome as usual, and I get sick and tired of little teeny tiny speakers that either go on the back of phones and you don't hear them when they're face down like that. You have to literally flip them over to hear your notifications, or you have to still cup it to get the sound to come towards you. It's not as bad when it's down there, but having stereo, dual front-facing speakers is so much better. The speakers on this thing is definitely really good, and I really like them. One thing this does have for it that some other phones out there don't have is a micro SD card. On one side, you have a micro SD card, and on the other side, you have a SIM card. I forget which one's which. This one could be the SIM card, that could be the micro SD card, or that could be the SIM card, and that could be the micro SD card. All I know is you can store 128 gigs of micro SD storage, and it's freaking awesome. I currently have a 128 gig micro SD card in there right now, and you can store a buttload of videos and watch them on a trip. You can record with the 4K video camera, because this thing does record in 4K. In fact, I'll briefly go over the settings you can choose from in the camera. So to take a selfie, you will press this and you'll choose selfie, and you can change it over to the front facing camera. Or you can choose panorama, raw camera, or add, and you can add different things in there. We'll go to the settings real quick and we'll see what all is available. You've got crop, which I like that because I can put it in a video and it's widescreen. It's not like a square, which every monitor in TV these days is widescreen, so definitely like having wide pictures. For the video quality, you can choose between HD 1080p, and then you can also change the storage to the SD card, which is a very nice thing because if you record 1080p footage for a while, that's going to take up a lot of storage. If you take thousands of pictures, that's going to take up a lot of storage, and having that micro SD card is a huge difference. To me, it's not necessarily a deal breaker. I've gone over ways to expand storage, such as, let's just show this little guy right here. You plug this into the bottom of the phone, and it will pop up a way to view the files on. If I could just get that in there. It will say preparing USB storage, and then you'll be able to open up any file explorer like the one it comes with, and you'll be able to go to USB storage, and you can see all the backups and pictures and movies and things you have stored on there. So it's not necessarily as important as some people believe, but having an SD card is still a very nice choice versus having something sticking out of the bottom of your phone. I'm going to go ahead and unmount this right here and then remove it. There we go. You can also verify right there that we have a 119 gig micro SD card in there at the moment. I will say, I really like this phone. Please don't get me wrong. I also really like the battery life. I can unplug both of these phones at 100% at 8 o'clock in the morning. And if I go the day without rarely touching it, maybe opening Google Maps to find a location to something that I don't know where it's at, make a phone call or two, check Twitter or something, this will be completely dead in the morning if I do not charge it, or even later that night. The battery on this thing just absolutely sucks. This is a T-Mobile version, and a lot of reports are saying that it is the T-Mobile version that's affected. So we'll get into that later on. I'll figure out some more information and see if I can make it better. But this thing, the next morning, will still have about 69-70% battery life left. The battery on this thing is absolutely great. If you're looking to get a phone that's going to last you the entire day, this phone right here is a good option. A very good option. The battery on this thing is I have no complaints with it. I'm going to take the T-Mobile SIM card out of this phone, put it in my Nexus 6, go back to my Nexus 6, and I'm going to keep this phone on AT&T, since again it's an unlocked developer edition device. I can throw whatever SIM card I want to throw in there as long as it's GSM, and it'll work fine. Which it has a double tap feature to unlock it. Just now realized that. That's pretty sad. You can change that in the settings by going to gestures and display and gestures, motion launch gestures. So you got double tap to wake and sleep. You've got swipe up to unlock, swiping down to turn on voice dialing. You've got all these different things in here. You can even... I would like to point out that there are definitely more polished and better reviews than mine. I'm just telling you how I feel about the phone, and if it wasn't for the fact that so many people wanted to see a review of this thing, I wouldn't even make a review. I haven't done a review of the Nexus 6, and the Nexus 6 is still one of my favorite phones of all time, and that's why I'm going to be going back to it. I love the screen size. That's one thing to note real quick. This is just a 1080p screen, but honestly, when you're just looking at apps and you're launching things, you're never going to tell the difference from the human eye. I mean, if you sit there with a microscope and you zoom in, you might see a couple more pixels on this phone than you would this one. But to just the average human eye, everything looks freaking fine. I have no issue with a 1080p screen versus a 1440p or a 2160p screen. I have no issues with it. It still looks really good, and we're at the point now where anything better than what's out is just, you have to really try very, very hard to find a difference and notice the extra pixels. Let's wrap this up. I really like this phone. It's one of my favorite phones, and like I said earlier, I'm going to keep using it, and I'm going to put CyanogenMod on it someday, and I'm going to carry my M9 and my Nexus 6, and they're both going to be on different carriers. I like that because T-Mobile 4G LTE is super freaking fast. Way super freaking fast. AT&T is generally just okay. But one nice thing is, when I go to Tennessee, when I go to other states, my AT&T is lit up with 4G LTE, while my T-Mobile phone is on Edge or the little G icon, which I like to call garbage. So I love T-Mobile, but their coverage cannot hold a flame to AT&T, just like AT&T can't hold a flame to T-Mobile's 4G LTE. So, and the beautiful thing is, I can take this AT&T SIM card, throw it in my unlocked Nexus 6 that I got from the Play Store, take my T-Mobile SIM card, and put it in here. I don't have to, it does not matter what carrier I have this on, as long as it takes a SIM card. And the Nexus 6 is even better because you can put Verizon, Sprint, you can throw any carrier, well, virtually any carrier in the world on the Nexus 6. Where these, you have to get them on your like CDMA or GSM carriers. I'm gonna stop babbling. This is a solid phone. It's definitely not worth spending a lot of money going from the M8 to the M9 unless you have an upgrade and you can get this phone for like 100, 200 bucks. Then it's a great phone. You should definitely get it. But do not buy this phone off contract if you already have an M8. It's just not worth it. I would call this the M8 Plus, the M8S. I would call this the slightly better version of the M8. That's about all I have. If you enjoyed it, please let me know by giving it a rating. If you didn't enjoy it, please also feel free to do the same. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, please do that. I will greatly appreciate it. You'll get notified of future videos that I post. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you have not done so already to stay in touch with me, see what videos I'm working on next, and what device I have coming that week or that day or whatever. This is What Would Josh Do? And I'm out.